What is going on, guys? It is your boy K-Mac here, coming back at you with another one of those cartoon conspiracy theories that you guys love so much. And this one was suggested to me in a comment, and I really love this show, and it really got me thinking that if I could find a theory for this show, I would really enjoy reading it to you guys, because this is one of my all-time favorite animated shows. It's a little more adult cartoon than an actual kid cartoon, but I know it's super popular, and I know it still runs to this day, even though it's changed its name like 4 or 5 times. But today we're going to be talking about the Aqua Teen Hunger Force theory and how it basically Carl's life theory is what it's called. Now, if you're not familiar with the series, not everyone will be, because like I said, it's more of an adult cartoon. It's on Adult Swim. It's a little bit funnier. It's a little more edgier than most cartoons. Basically, what it is there is a character base that are based off of food items. There's a French fries. His name is Frylock. There's a shake that's called Master Shake, and there's a hamburger patty that's called Meat Wad. And they go on all kinds of crazy adventures, and it's really funny. It's probably like I said, it's my favorite show. It's hilarious, and they go on crazy adventures and stuff like that. And there's actually they have a neighbor. His name is Carl, and what this theory is going to revolve around is going to revolve around Carl. Basically, what we know about Carl is he's pretty stereotypical New Jersey person who loves to live for the day and by eating fatty foods, watching football, and getting laid with prostitutes. But in his mind, why is he so unhappy and so bitter? Well, we're going to take a little deeper look into why he's a little bit so bitter and so mean. So looking back into Carl's childhood, late 1960s, early 1970s, it's kind of a middle to lower class family. Basically, there's a couple episodes where he has a flashback of his family at Christmas time. And it's basically his dad they live in a small apartment. They don't have a whole lot of money. His dad gives him a slice of carpet for Christmas, and he's trying to use his imagination to make sure to make it fun and make it into like a magic carpet. And his dad's like, "Don't get attached to the magic carpet. That's dinner." And he's like, "Don't be silly, Dad. You can't eat carpet." And he's like, "No, not until you boil it." So it's very clear that he had a really pretty rough upcoming, and basically didn't have a lot of money, didn't have a lot of food, and his parents were always stressed about money and going to work. They even made Carl go to work. His dad makes a joke about how hard it was. He had to pull some strings to get him to hire an 11-year-old at the factory, and it was really funny, but it's kind of sad at the same time that he had to go through that as a child. Carl went to public school because his parents obviously could not afford to send him to any kind of private school or anything like that. So basically he went to he went to public school. And he didn't have a lot of money, and he dressed kind of, cheaply, and he always kind of smelled weird. The kind of the kids that you see with the lower income family. He got made fun for it a lot during in grade school and high school, and it made the kids not really like him, and it made him kind of a loner. He didn't really have a whole lot of friends. He didn't have a whole lot of places he could go to hang out and be with other people. So he had to use his imagination. Again, he used his imagination a lot. He got very imaginative. He had a lot of fun using his imagination when he was a child. It would keep him out of depression. Basically, he would go to his imaginary world, or maybe he just imagine something and make up a game, and he'd have fun by himself. He wouldn't have to have friends to keep himself happy. Now, despite the fact that Carl's family is poor, they went out to eat a lot. Basically, they never cooked dinner. They always went out to some kind of fast food place and got food. This is why Carl and his father are both pretty heavy men. They're both pretty bulky. As you see later in the show, Carl's always eating some kind of hot wing or burger or something like that when he's watching football and doing stuff like that. So it's pretty clear that Carl only exclusively eats basically fast food. Now, when Carl was a child, he would wait in line for his food, and he became fascinated by how the food was being produced. Every time he went to a fast food place, he ordered the same thing: a medium shake, a large fry, and a hamburger. And he'd become consumed with how it was being made back there in the kitchen for him. He would be amazed about how the deep fryer would fry the fries, and how the milkshake machine would stir the shake, and how the hamburger patty was on the grill. He was very intrigued by this, and again, like I said before, he used his imagination an awful lot as a child, not having a whole lot of friends. And after a while, he started to think of these food pals, as he called them, as being some of his best friends. He always kept them with him in his imagination. They were always his best friends, and being a typical kid, he also wanted more friends, so he thought up of other stuff to be his food pals, such as Oglethorpe and Emery, and the Doomer dolls, and other characters like that. Also have to do with like the toys that you get at fast food joints, like little cheap toys. That's what Oglethorpe and Emery are, those little alien guys. They were basically just those toys that you get at like you get a McDonald's in your Happy Meal, something along those lines. He's just using his imagination with some kind of toy that looked like an alien to make them his food pals as well. Now, after a while, Carl thought to himself that his food pals should have a personality. But basically what ended up happening is each one of his food pals, one of the three main characters, Frylock, Meatwad, and Master Shake, all got one part of Carl's actual real-life personalities. For example, the Master Shake is always selfish and ignorant and rude and often does bad things. This is basically Carl's bad side that he gets. That's why Master Shake is like that. He gets he gets his inner bad side, and that's what Carl gets. Or not what Carl gets, what Master Shake gets from Carl. Now, Frylock is the character that represented by Carl's intelligence. Carl actually was pretty good in school, even though he didn't have a whole lot of money and didn't have a lot of friends. He was still kind of a smart kid in school, and that's what Frylock represents. He represents his intelligence. And as for Meatwad, he represents Carl's innocence. And when Carl didn't really have a whole lot of friends when he was a child, again, so he kind of was imaginative. He's kind of an innocent child. He was kind of naive, and that's basically exactly what Meatwad is. He's kind of this naive person, doesn't really get a whole lot of things. A lot of things go right above his head, but he's so innocent and childlike you can't really be mad at him. That's basically that's Carl's childhood and innocence all wrapped up into one. That's why Meatwad's like that. And lastly, Carl likes to imagine himself in this kind of world with his food palace as well as the neighbor that lives next to them, and it's like a older version of himself, and it's kind of based around of what his father's like. His father's a kind of meaner old man who's fat, likes to watch a lot of football, likes to look at a lot of pornography. That's basically what Carl becomes. He's basically a model of his father, and in this imagination story where he has all these food pals, he imagines himself living next door to them and like them going on adventures, and basically, I mean, he kind of just thinks of him as kind of friends, but a kind of love-hate kind of thing. And he makes up all these kind of funny stories that the neighbors go on as the food pals, as Aqua Teen Hunger Force goes on, and all those kind of crazy things. He makes it all up in his head. So basically, this whole show basically boils down to all of the characters being inside of Carl's head and being basically imaginary, except for Carl himself, obviously. And then everything that happens in the show is just basically in a big imaginary theory, basically that keep Carl entertained because he's so depressed as a child, doesn't have a whole lot of friends, like I said, doesn't have a whole lot going on, so he does make up these little adventures in his head to keep himself entertained and keep himself from being depressed. But that's basically it for this theory, guys. I'm sorry I had to jump into a Battlefield 4 gameplay right here. I ran out of GTA gameplay. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys go ahead and hit that like button, it'd be very much appreciated. As always, if this video hits to 600 likes before the end of the weekend, I'll drop out next week's theory a day early for you guys, so you guys can go ahead and do that for me. It'd be very much appreciated. And if you guys are new around here, you guys can feel free to subscribe for more theories and more gameplays of Battlefield 4, GTA Online, and all kinds of stuff like that, all kinds of tips and tricks for all of those games, along with these theories and other kinds of series that I do. So it'd be very much appreciated if you guys went over and subscribed as well. But that's it for this time, guys. Until next time, peace out and game the fuck on. Peace. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. And if you guys go ahead and hit that like button, like I said, if it hits 600 likes, I'll drop the video next week a day early. If you guys can go ahead and drop a comment using the word